Tonight on News 5 Live, COVID-19 cases cause curfew to be adjusted again. Lockdown coming for another community in Toledo. BPO workers and others added to list of frontline workers. And the Belizean Travelers series kicks off on News 5 tonight as Dwayne Moody heads west for some Cayo adventure. These stories and more coming up next on News 5 Live.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSB, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Starting July 25th, The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ can be seen Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. exclusively on Channel 5 Belize. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings, Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. on Channel 5 Belize.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, July 30th. I am Sabrina Daly. A spike in the number of COVID-19 cases over the past 2 weeks has prompted the Ministry of Health and Wellness to take stringent measures in an attempt to stem the spread of the virus. That means that as of Sunday, a new nightly curfew will come into effect. The restriction on movement begins at 9 p.m. and ends at 4 a.m. Likewise, all call center employees and civil aviation personnel have been bumped up to frontline worker status and will be required to present their vaccination cards or negative results of a PCR or rapid test every 2 weeks, beginning July 31st. As far as casinos, they have also been reduced to 50% capacity. These changes were introduced during a press conference this afternoon hosted by Minister Michelle Shabat.
As a consequence of the rapid rise in COVID numbers that we're seeing, there are going to be new public health measures that are going to be coming into force as of Sunday, the 1st of August, 2021. Some of the new measures that are going to be implemented include in the definition of frontline workers, employees of a BPO have now been included, and so have the civil aviation officials. They are now included as frontline workers. The implication of that, as you know, is that those who are not vaccinated by the 31st of July 2021 would be required to now present a negative COVID test to their place of employment. Secondly, we are moving the curfew. The curfew will now be from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. and that starts on Sunday, the 1st of August. The other change we're making is that every tour operator and every tour guide must present their vaccination card. The other change we're making is that in terms of casinos or any other gaming establishment, they are to operate at 50% of their capacity only. We're also going to be implementing and expanding on the portion of the law that deals with a fraudulent immunization card. So now any person who in his or her possession a fraudulent immunization card is now an offense and is subject to not only a fine but also to a confinement.
A new task force will also be introduced to administer existing COVID measures in places such as shops and stores, public offices, as well as other business establishments. While a lockdown of the southern communities of Barranco, Midway, and Conejo expires on Saturday, similar confinement has been put in place in Santa Elena, Toledo District. A surge in the number of positive cases in Santa Elena has forced government to quarantine the entire village for a period of 2 weeks.
Additionally, we are going to be implementing what is going to be called a COVID enforcement unit, which will have as its primary task the enforcement of the public health measures. And these individuals will have the authority to go into all business establishments and public facilities to ensure that those who are present in those establishments are observing the public health measures. And additionally, we are going to be locking down for a period of 2 weeks
has been met with opposition in
the
some
village
corners.
of Santa Elena in the Toledo district. We have been experiencing a large number of positive cases coming out of that village, and we believe that the only way to control is to lock down that village. And so as of today, for a period of 2 weeks, they are going to be locked down, as we did with Barranco, Conejo, and Midway, we are going to be providing them with water, food, and a stipend for the period of 2 weeks. There is an increase in numbers in the south side of Belize City, which we are monitoring very, very closely. So we are at the monitoring stage with that. We do not yet feel that we are at a stage where we need to lock down, and so we're not quite there yet in Belize City.
Spanish Lookout remains an area of concern for the Ministry of Health, as well as the Belize Police Department. That Mennonite community in the West has been flouting the COVID regulations, and business owners, as well as customers, have been going about without the use of face masks. They have also not been social distancing. While the ministry is aware of the situation due to the sharp increase in cases, Minister Shabat says that the police department will be enforcing the protocols.
You will know that 2 of the deaths that we had reported earlier this week actually arose out of that community. And we do have some concern. The team did go out there this morning, and they went out there to do vaccination. This was done after a brief meeting was held between personnel from the Ministry of Health and some of the leaders of that community yesterday. And as a consequence of that, the team did go in this morning to conduct some vaccinations there. I am still waiting to get a number from them to determine exactly how much vaccinations were carried out. In terms of what the commissioners said, Marisol, we live in one nation, and we expect that the police will enforce the laws throughout our country in a very even way. I can tell you that the conversations with the police force has been ongoing, and we do expect that that situation will be remedied by the police in short order. As a government, we have the duty to protect this entire nation, and we cannot allow any one group to fall outside of the established regulations, outside of the established public health measures. I can tell you that from a ministry's point of view, even one death is too many. And so the fact that they have had, to my mind, goes against everything that they may have said to you.
There is a concerted effort by various government ministries to get public officers vaccinated. While the approach has been met with opposition in some corners, by and large, teachers are getting their jabs ahead of the reopening of schools in August. According to the Minister of Education, everyone will be prepared to return to their classrooms at the start of the new school year.
Everybody is ready as far as we are concerned. Obviously, you know, as we go along between now and the end of August, we'll have to continue to monitor it very closely and ensure, you know, that everything is in place.
Sir, will you be requiring the management of these schools, or is it the management or the principals, to check if the teachers as frontliners are vaccinated or if they're taking their tests every 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're going to have to rely on the managing authorities to check with them. So it's a challenging issue. It's a challenging issue, but the message we want to send is a very clear one. When our teachers are vaccinated, everyone is safer. They are safer. Their fellow teachers are safer. Their students, families. So we want to say in a very clear and resounding way to our teachers, please, let's get vaccinated. We've been, you know, it's been very positive so far. We're up to now 70% of our teachers vaccinated, at least with the first shot. So that's very positive. It's moving in the right direction. Our target has always been to get around 80% of our teachers vaccinated by the time we reopen for face-to-face instruction in September.
For the first time, Belize will observe Emancipation Day as a public and bank holiday this year. It commemorates the day in 1938 when enslaved Africans from the English-speaking Caribbean were legally freed from forced bondage. The date has been identified as August 1st, but the holiday will be given on Monday this year since the 1st falls on a Sunday. Today, Minister of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, Francis Fonseca, gave an address in which he spoke of the significance of the day.
Slavery was one of the most evil chapters in all of human history. Over 20 million African men, women, and children were brutally and inhumanely forced from their homelands and brought to the Americas and the Caribbean to work on agricultural estates. Here in Belize, these enslaved Africans were bought and brought from the slave markets of Jamaica and Bermuda to provide free labor for the logwood and mahogany trade. The first record of slaves arriving in Belize is in 1724. Today, as we celebrate Emancipation Day, let us as a nation renew our commitment to correcting this injustice and addressing these inequities. We must do so by creating greater opportunities for education, for employment, for land and housing ownership. We must also celebrate the proud history of resistance and resilience embodied in our African ancestors.
Emancipation Day activities will be held in the various municipalities to highlight the achievement of emancipation throughout the month of August. Protests have broken out in Guatemala, with thousands taken to the streets on Thursday, lighting fires and blocking roads across the country. The protesters, who are an amalgamation of different interests, many of who are indigenous people, are demanding the resignation of President Alejandro Giammattei. This follows the firing of a well-known anti-corruption prosecutor, since Guatemala's Attorney General Maria Porras removed Juan Francisco Sandoval as head of the Special Prosecutor's Office Against Impunity. The protests have gained momentum. But Belize's ambassador to Guatemala, Jose Alpuche, told News 5 today that Belizeans at home can rest assured that the protests have not affected their loved ones in Guatemala.
It does have impact countrywide, but luckily to date they are planned and they are contained within certain areas. So people are still able to move around relatively freely and safely, as long as the areas where the protests are being held are avoided. As long as we keep in tune with the media here in Guatemala and avoid the areas where protests are being held, everybody should be safe. We know that there's general concerns, especially by parents with children studying here in Guatemala. But I can assure them that up to now, it is still fairly easy to move around and fairly safe to move around. And we all just have to continue monitoring and avoid areas where protests are. We know some of the student bodies have been involved in the protests, but to date we have absolutely no report of any national being impacted.
Ambassador Alpuche says the diplomatic missions in Guatemala are also safe because aside from their own personal security arrangements, the Guatemalan government provides additional security for the embassies. Juan Francisco Sandoval, who has since fled Guatemala, has said that he was fired after the Guatemalan Attorney General prevented him from trying to investigate corruption cases with links to President Giammattei. Coming up, the Belize Tourism Board's Belizean Traveler Series kicks off with Dwayne Moody exploring the Cayo District. Stay with us.
Hello, friends. This is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word.
The Bible says, "For if you forgive men when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins." A young white mentally disturbed man joined a group of African American Christians one night during their Bible study in Charleston, South Carolina, and an hour later shot and killed 9 of them. How did that church respond? They did not respond by going to the streets and demonstrating their bitterness and hatred. No, they, with the grace of God, said, "We forgive him." That did not mean that they excused him, but that they would not allow anger and hatred to control their lives. They chose love over hatred and the justice system to do its work. Corrie ten Boom likened forgiveness to letting go of a bell rope. If you have ever seen a country church with a bell in the steeple, you will remember that to get the bell ringing, you have to tug a while. Once it has begun to ring, you merely maintain the momentum. As long as you keep pulling, the bell keeps ringing. But if you let go of the rope, the bell will begin to slow down and eventually stop. Miss ten Boom said, "Forgiveness is letting go of the rope." It is just that simple. Old feelings of unforgiveness may continue, for they have lots of momentum, but soon that unforgiving spirit will begin to slow and eventually be still. Forgiveness is not something you feel. Forgiveness is something you do. It is letting go of the rope of retribution.
Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
It's a fact that with Smart, you get truly unlimited everything. Only with Smart, you get unlimited data anytime, while with the other guy, it's only double data on weekends. With unlimited data every day with Smart, there's no need to wait. So, it's a fact that our unlimited plans beat the competition. Stop being measured and told when to use your data and get unlimited talk, text, and data. Experience the true unlimited plans with Smart. That's a fact. Make the switch and live smart.
Boy, Billy King got a new label. Oh.
Boy, watch this.
Yo. This is my beer.
Bellikin, the beer of Belize.
Introducing Edam A cheese, the A+ Dutch cheese to hit the Belizean market. As the name says, it is of A-class quality, the best Dutch cheese in Belize. Edam A cheese is creamier, less salty, and simply more delicious. Don't be left out. Get your A cheese at a supermarket near you. A cheese exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited. Call us at 610-3626 or 610-8910. Follow us on Facebook at Unitex Belize.
Improving lives, delivering quality. Water for you and me in Belize. BWS, we make it happen.
At Belize Water Services, we continue delivering on our promise of improving the lives of you, our valued customers. We have all been adversely affected by COVID-19 in many ways. BWS has ensured that we have been there for you during these difficult and challenging times by adjusting our processes and our way of doing business to ensure the safety of our customers as well as our staff. BWS enhanced our virtual and distance options to continue to serve you while reducing risk. Customers have been able to contact us through our toll-free numbers, via email, and using our newly introduced WhatsApp numbers for messaging. We have also continued to encourage customers to make payments online. These measures are all designed to improve the safety of customers. BWS went even further. Knowing the effects of the pandemic on the economy and our customers, we launched our residential amnesty program, offering rebate discounts during the months of April, May, and June 2021. We're pleased to report that some 7,400 customers utilized the arrears assistance, and some 18,000 residential customers received the benefit of the early payment discount. During these tough times, BWS also continued to invest in infrastructure expansion and improvements. At the same time, we have continued to provide high-quality, safe, potable water services to ensure the continued health and safety of all our consumers. Our customers enjoyed uninterrupted water supply during the most challenging of times.
Belize Water Services, delivering water and more.
The Belize Sugar Industries ASR Group is processing its final delivery of sugarcane for the season. The company does not yet know how much sugar was produced in total for the season, but says the cane supplies rebounded by up to 30% after a poor crop in 2020. Vice President for International Relations at BSI, Malcolm McLachlan, gave an overview of the 2020-2021 crop and sugar production.
Yesterday, we concluded the cane delivery for this crop season. It looks like we will end up with just shy of 1.22 million tons of sugar cane, and we're now in the process of liquidating and making the rest of the last of the sugar, liquidating the factory and getting ready to basically rip it apart and rebuild it and put in a considerable amount of investment to ensure that we are ready to start again for the next season. So although we have a few seconds to take a breath at the very end, we don't have very long, because this really is a 24/7 business. I want to thank very much the cane farmers for bringing in all that cane. It was more or less what we expected, perhaps a little bit more than we were expecting, remembering that last year was a very poor crop affected by the previous year's drought. So the cane bounced back quite well. It's been a difficult crop, mainly because of the weather. We had a lot of interruptions at the beginning of crop, which really meant that we lost 15 days early on in the crop.
In the off-season, BSI ASR says they will be making a $20 million investment to improve facilities. These upgrades will include the water treatment plant to improve the quality of discharge that goes into the New River. Director of Finance at the company, Sean Chavaria, spoke on this.
We're just in the final stages of completing another major environmental project at the mill, which is to improve our water treatment system to reduce the temperature of that we're discharging into the New River. That project is going to be commissioned in August. So we're winding down that project, and our next big project is the replacement of the electrostatic precipitators. These ESPs, as we call them, is our air emission control system, which removes the ash from the boilers before it's discharged into the stack and into the atmosphere.
The press also asked about the company's decision to move its sugar loading operations from the Port of Belize to the Big Creek port. The company asserts that this will be good for the industry and ultimately the cane farmers, who will reportedly see greater returns. BSI ASR says the decision was not influenced by any labor dispute, but industry challenges dating back to 2006.
We had to take a business decision for the future of the industry. Now, some 18 months ago, I believe that the dredging of Big Creek Port was concluded, which meant that Big Creek could now bring in large vessels to load directly from the quayside. And that makes a big difference to the efficiency of exporting raw sugar. As you may be aware, we have been for decades now sending our sugar in barges and tugs 122 miles up the New River and down the coast, where it's loaded in a very inefficient way into bulk cargo vessels. using the ship's grabs to do that directly from the barges. Now, a year or so back, obviously having seen this development at Big Creek, we undertook a trial run with trucking some sugar to Big Creek and loading it there. We evaluated that, and this is purely a business decision that we looked at investment at Big Creek to put in a loading facility for our raw sugar, and we confirmed that there was no secret behind this. We had alerted Port of Belize City and indeed copied that correspondence to the stevedores.
One of the things that occurred several years ago when the EU started to say, look, ACP countries, the preferential pricing will start moving away, and that started from 2006. The EU provided what was called accompanying measures for sugar. So it looked at different things in the industry that needed to be improved to make it more competitive, right? And so they looked at infrastructure, sugar roads, sugarcane replanting so that fields can be renovated. And another key component was logistics, because everyone knows that our logistics operations here was inefficient. We had slow loading rates, and so that needed to be improved.
BSI ASR is building a 30,000-ton warehouse with loading equipment at the Big Creek port, which the company says will bring the local industry up to international standards. We also spoke to CEO at the Port of Belize Limited, Andy Lane, who faults the government of Belize for turning a blind eye to the 2006 MOU with Toledo Enterprises.
In my opinion, BSI ASR has done nothing wrong. What has been done wrong is that there was an MOU in place since 2006 that was signed between the government of Belize and Toledo Enterprises, the owner of Big Creek Port. And that document very, very clearly says that the Port of Big Creek is not licensed or permitted to handle dry cargo volumes which are presently being handled in the north. And I think it's wrong. It's a wrong decision by the government to just turn a blind eye to that and say we don't respect that MOU, we don't want to honour that MOU that we signed. It has Said Musa's signature on it, and of course he's no longer the Prime Minister, but this thing passes from government to government. You inherit what was left to you by the previous government. And I don't think it's right that you just turn around and say we don't respect that MOU anymore. And in the very next sentence, remind me that I have an MOU with the union that I'm expected to respect.
We also asked CEO Lane about ongoing negotiations between PBL and the CWU collective bargaining agreement. Discussions began on Wednesday and have been ongoing for the past 3 days. When we spoke to CEO Lane before today's meeting, he noted that an agreement has been reached for up to 10 of the 20 points in the CBA.
But there's also, just to be realistic, there's also a number of issues which remain outstanding, and there is quite some difference in what the union would like versus what we can afford to do. The good news is that there should not be a stalemate. So as of August 3rd, the Labour Minister has invoked the Essential Services Arbitration Tribunal. And those discussions will start already on the 3rd of August. They will obviously need to come to us, and we will need to provide them with a lot of information. And then they will need time to deliberate, and obviously they will need to be cross-referencing against employment laws and the Labour Act. And this is, it's not a quick process. It's not a simple process. There's a certain amount of complexity involved. But basically, that conversation will start on August the 3rd. I have no idea how long that will take. What we will do with the CWU is that next week, at the moment, starting Wednesday, we will turn our attention to a different issue, to the sugar issue, and we will have those discussions during next week. The staff CBA will be paused at the end of today if we don't reach an agreement today. We might reach an agreement, but there's a lot of work still to do, so I just want to manage expectations.
And while negotiations are ongoing, CWU's 21-day notice of intended strike action comes due August 3rd. CEO Lane is hopeful, however, that it will be business as usual at the Port of Belize on Tuesday.
That notice matures on the 3rd of August, so Tuesday of next week, which coincides with the day that the tribunal will start its discussions. And it's my understanding that so long as the tribunal is in progress, coupled with the fact that we continue our discussions with the CWU, then there's no reason to invoke the industrial action. That would of course be premature. And I can't say that it would be illegal, but it would go against the concept of the Essential Services Act. And you know, that has to be respected. And I hope that when Tuesday morning comes around, it's business as usual. We might have our differences, but we need to keep the business going. Again, it's about being competitive. It's about being consistent and stable in the service that we offer. A strike doesn't do anybody any favors. It will damage my business. It will further take earnings away from my staff. Nobody wants to be in that position.
Have you ever wondered what it is like to be a visitor in your own country? Well, one of News 5's own reporters was chosen for Belize Tourism Board's Belizean Travelers 2021 campaign. His area of the country was the West. In this first episode, Dwayne Moody takes you along for a ride, giving you an overview of some of the many wonders of Cayo.
Mecca, tell you a secret. I'm original from Curacao, but I have fallen in love with Cayo. As a reporter, I oftentimes travel across the country bringing you up-to-date, accurate reports on incidents and events. But it's almost always for work and never leisure. So never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be selected as a Belizean traveler for the Belize Tourism Board. Overly excited, I was ready to take on Cayo! There are so many things that you can do in Western Belize. Breathtaking adventures and cultural experiences for you and that significant someone, your entire family, best friends, and even co-workers. There's something for everyone, and I tried to do everything. Day trips with Congo Belize, like hiking in the Mountain Pine Ridge.
We are at the Rio Frio Cave. This is a very popular spot for a lot of visitors to Western Belize. The cave is a limestone cave. They have many different cave formations inside. We have the stalactites coming down from the roof. We have stalagmites going up from the ground, pillars, columns. Behind me, we are seeing Cana, which is the tallest structure in the B group, and it's the tallest and the biggest in all of Belize. This is one of the most amazing sites to visit, just mainly for the sheer size of it. We are dwarfed in the presence of Cana.
That's 40 miles from the twin towns of San Ignacio and Santa Elena. But there's this uniqueness about the West, where there are natural and cultural experiences intertwined with the bustling urban setting of downtown. Imagine in your own backyard. Literally, there are so many things that you can do, and I tried it all.
Here at the San Ignacio Resort Hotel, you get the best of both worlds. So you want a private getaway, it's no problem. But you need to run downtown quickly to get something, you can do that too. You have so many on-site activities that it's really a true jungle escape right in the middle of town.
Out in the wild, you would not be able to do what we do here in our project. These iguanas get 6-7 foot long. Usually that tail is twice the size of the body. You kind of freak out when you hear about green iguanas. A lot of people would react like that when they get here. But believe me, at the end of the tour, they just have something new to say.
They call he the iguana whisperer. Yup, he talks to iguanas. I want to tell you more about the San Iggy Hotel and that tour which actively ensures the survival of iguanas in Belize. But that will be in another episode. Man cannot live by bread alone. There was no shortage of food to pick, choose, and refuse, not to mention wines. So I had to indulge.
We are very proud of using Belizean products here, and one of the highlights from the restaurant is definitely our meats. So a lot of our clients do come for the steaks that we actually get from our sister farms, which are the Running W farms. So sourcing local fresh produce almost every day is something that is exciting, and the seasonality of the fruits and everything that you can get here in San Ignacio is just wonderful, and it always is motivating for us to create dishes.
It's on fire hot, right? So it's good, it's good, obviously. They say fire hot make everything taste better.
Yeah, yes.
And then
tonight you're going to prove it.
Believe it or not, guys, I will tell you that I'm originally from Curacao, and eating boiled corn, making tamalitos, making tamales with my mom, that was a big thing that we used to do. So watch out, Chef Sean. I come for you, Sean Quillen. I'm coming for you, Chef Dwayne is here.
We want to make wine as important as how food is. Meaning that, whenever you order a plate of food, you would also order wine because it complements each other.
Now, I jam all of this in a one weekend. I don't recommend that. Take your time and really enjoy things on a slower pace. This was just a highlight to whet your appetite. So stay tuned for more so you too can become a Belizean traveler. I'm exhausted. Back to the job.
After the break, the Minister of Education weighs in on CEO salaries. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
This COVID update is brought to you by Belize Medical Associates. This COVID update was brought to you by Belize Medical Associates.
August 1st is Emancipation Day. The government of Belize, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, and the National Institute of Culture and History proudly celebrate the fact that this year, for the first time, Emancipation Day will be observed as a national public and bank holiday. Emancipation Day is observed on August 1st to commemorate the date in 1838 when apprenticeship ended and enslaved Africans in the Anglophone Caribbean were legally freed from forced bondage. Slavery was one of the most evil chapters in all of human history. Over 20 million African men, women, and children were brutally and inhumanely forced from their homelands and brought to the Americas and the Caribbean to work on agricultural estates. Here in Belize, these enslaved Africans were bought and brought from the slave markets of Jamaica and Bermuda to provide free labor for the logwood and mahogany trade. The first record of slaves arriving in Belize is in 1724. Our enslaved brothers and sisters from Africa suffered unimaginable physical abuse, rape, torture, and forced labor. The indignity and injustice of slavery brought with it psychological trauma and socio-economic inequities which have been passed on from generation to generation. Today, as we celebrate Emancipation Day, let us as a nation renew our commitment to correcting this injustice and addressing these inequities. We must do so by creating greater opportunities for education, for employment, for land and housing ownership. We must also celebrate the proud history of resistance and resilience embodied in our African ancestors. We acknowledge and pay tribute to their magnificent contributions to Belize's rich and diverse culture, so evident in our language, food, and dance. We pay respect to their descendants who have played such a meaningful and important role in Belize's social, economic, and political development. On this first publicly recognized and celebrated Emancipation Day, let us proudly and loudly beat the drums of our African forefathers. Our drums will never be silent. Together we shall rise. Happy Emancipation Day 2021.
Let me show you how it's done.
Bye. I can see this still work.
Why go to strong?
What the?
Hey, Billiken Stout got a new label. Bartender, 4 Billiken Stout with a new label on it. Now that's how it's done.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
The salaries for chief executive officers under the Briceño administration remain untouched, despite a reduction in monthly income for government ministers. The wages for teachers and public officers have also been reduced by 10% for the next 3 years. CEOs, on the other hand, continues to enjoy their full salaries despite government's so-called financial crunch. Education Minister Francis Fonseca maintains that CEOs are not above getting a salary cut.
My understanding was, and my understanding remains, that the CEOs are subject to the 10% salary cut. As the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, we will have a discussion about it at the next cabinet meeting. We will, I'm sure, be provided with an explanation as to why there was a change in the position. And once we have been provided with that explanation, we can have a proper discussion on it and make the right decision.
The debate around the 11th Amendment rages on, and beyond the perceived threat to Shine Barrow's political future is the need to put in place a threshold for sitting public officials and aspiring politicians. Home Affairs Minister Karim Musa, himself an attorney at law, has weighed in on the controversial issue. Aside from acknowledging various perspectives on the matter, Musa says that all constitutional amendments will be reviewed carefully going forward.
I believe it is setting standards to serve your country in the capacity of a member of parliament. I know that there has been a lot of discourse, and that is only natural, and that is very healthy for our democracy to hear different views and different perspectives. Like I've said before, I am one who believes in reform, true reform, not just saying that you are reform. And in terms of the 11th Amendment, like I said, and I'm sure the minister prior to me speaking also said that we're going to look at all of the constitutional amendments as a whole moving forward.
Just ahead, an elderly Belize City man finds a good Samaritan. Together, they are trying to get him some much-needed surgery. Details when we return.
My name is Julie, and I'm a single mom raising a 10-year-old son. I am the director for a conservation organization. When I started working in the field of marine conservation, it was absolutely male-dominated. It still is male-dominated. One of my first jobs was as a manager out on a remote island with all male staff reporting to me. And one of my assistants was very upset with me and actually told me, the only woman whoever tells me what to do is my mom. And I have my son, and I really do want to show him that really anything can be done, and it doesn't matter who you are. From day one, I've been teaching my son that any job that a man can do, a woman can do. And he has learned this, and he now preaches this to friends and even my colleagues.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
That's the sound of fuel efficiency. Every day, every time, I choose Una Fuels, powered with Dynamax. Una, a brand committed with the future.
Digi's got the summer deals, and now's the time to join in on Digi's Back to School raffle. Win big with any of our 3 easy ways to enter. 1. Purchase any device on promotion. 2. Be a Digicel or Diginet prepaid customer with at least $10 in usage. 3. Make the switch. Join the Digi family between July 1st and 31st, and you're automatically in to win. Don't miss out on your chance to win Digi's Back to School package, including a laptop, MiFi, and 3 months of free data, all valued over $2,000. Win big with Digi's Back to School raffle, because Digi's got the summer deals. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com or visit a Digi store near you.
"2020 taught us the importance of being connected to the virtual world, and NextGen is here to keep its commitment to you. Even if you're physically apart, NextGen keeps you digitally connected."
Okay, everyone, thank you for following me today.
NextGen provides more than just an internet plan. They provide service plans that support all your online needs. Sign up today and get your NextGen's ultra-high-speed internet service. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800-A-WAY-OUT or our cell phone number, 672-9628. This message is brought to you by the National Women's Commission in collaboration with Miss Universe Belize, with funding from the Engender and Spotlight Project.
Smart continues to expand its internet coverage countrywide to help you live a smarter life.
Our villagers are very happy. They are pleased to know that Smart went the extra mile to put a tower in our village so that our villagers can get live stream on their TVs and they can get their kids doing their online classes. I want to say to Smart, thank you for making it possible for us to get internet in Gardenia Village. We really do appreciate it.
Smart continues to take the internet and mobile services to communities across Belize. Now save even more when you bundle your Smart broadband with Smart mobile services. Smart, bringing people together.
UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, has donated medical and personal protective equipment to the Independence Polyclinic, San Juan Health Post, the Bella Vista Polyclinic, and community health workers in the Independence area. Supplies include thousands of items for personal protection and devices like vital signs, monitors, and oximeters. UNHCR also assisted the Bella Vista Polyclinic with a laptop for health information campaigns and the building of a waiting area, with the assistance of partner Humana People to People. Independence and Bella Vista Polyclinic and San Juan Health Post cater for the needs of over 25,000 people, including refugees fleeing violence in other Central American countries. A Good Samaritan has taken it upon himself to open up a GoFundMe page to assist an ailing golden citizen raise money for hip surgery. Abner Murillo was on Facebook one day when he saw a post about Glenn Miller of Belize City, who has been paralyzed from the chest down and is now bedridden. Abner stepped in and got a doctor to assess the situation. He found out that at least one of the complications Miller is facing can be rectified through surgery. He took us to visit Miller today.
A wound on my hip, a big hole that I really want to close because it rains a lot. And from my chest, from my foot, I cannot move my feet, nothing. I cannot walk, cannot stand, nothing. Okay. And I've been confined to this bed for like 6 years and a couple months. And this wound, they can only get better, and I really would want to ask the public if they could assist me with some kind of help so that I could cover this wound, so that I could try and move around. I had this house from last year in March. Okay. Without moving? And then we got a short get just from here to the bathroom and back. Because everything I want, if I have to go to for me, I have to pay. If I have to go somewhere and sometimes Mr. Abdul, the one who assists me with the funds, but then come and give me and then I just stretch it. We try and make, because I have garbage, I have even bucket garbage away every day. But my guy comes and I have to give me $5 every day to do that for me. So then the funds on the day. Like the last 3 years and there's no funds on there. And I really want to get up. I really need help to come out of this bed because with this look, I can move.
We visited a surgeon and he gave us a quote for the surgery. Okay. And that's why we've been trying to raise funds for him. The total cost of the surgery was $18,000. That includes the surgery and I guess the time at the hospital and the pre-assessments, post checkups and stuff like that. And apart from that, I also really feel that it's necessary to get him into a place that he at least has his private bathroom. He doesn't have to go in a wheelchair and roll outside and use a shared bathroom. I think part of his healing process is going to be, to be in a place where he can actually heal. So the surgery is about $18,000, and I'm also trying to raise the funds as well to get him into better living conditions. And like I said, a part-time caretaker.
If you would like to assist Glenn Miller directly, he lives across from the Belize City bus terminal on the compound where Andrea's Tortilla Shop is located. You can also make financial donations for the surgery to Maria's Atlantic Bank account 211-221-998 or call the number 607-2887. Just ahead, you may be working out and eating right, but are you taking care of your mental health too? Some tips for de-stressing from therapist Jenny Lovell. But first, here's the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Why, Tony? Why, Keith, what are going on, man?
But actually come see you because I need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just ran out to the last batch, must have been like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What is going on?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
Good morning, sweetie. It's time for school.
Are you a teacher or public sector employee who is thinking of owning your new home? Get the keys to your new home with Belize Bank's all-inclusive mortgage, the best financing option in Belize for your new home purchase or construction. Inclusive of all mortgage-related fees, no down payment, affordable terms, amazingly low interest rates. Visit our nearest branch to speak to one of our financial advisors to discuss how you can be one step closer to owning your new home. Some conditions apply.
Last month, my father passed away due to COVID-19. My father was not vaccinated. He was not. To be truthful, the things he would have said would be the things that we're hearing around town. But there were also some of the other things, some of the other myths that really I was trying to tell him, no, Daddy, you need to get your vaccine, but I couldn't convince him in time.
I think what they're doing is a disservice to this country. In my mind, what they're doing is creating fear among people when they should be spreading a message of hope. What I hear them say has no basis, no scientific basis for the assertions they're making. And more than anything else, there's no legal basis for their assertion.
Would he have gotten that vaccine, he would still be here cracking his jokes and being his fun, crazy self, and we really miss him.
Es un hecho. Únicamente con Smart obtienes todo realmente ilimitado. Solo con Smart obtienes datos ilimitados en cualquier momento. Mientras que con el otro proveedor solo son datos dobles los fines de semana. Con datos ilimitados todos los días no hay necesidad de esperar, así que es un hecho que nuestros planes ilimitados superan a la competencia. Por lo tanto, no permita que le digan cómo y cuándo usar sus datos. Y obtenga llamadas, mensajes de texto y datos ilimitados. Vive la verdadera experiencia de planes ilimitados con Smart. Es un hecho. Haga el cambio y viva Smart.
Many people aren't aware that stress plays a major role in one's mental health, or even that there are different types of stress. Add depression to the stress, and the problem is compounded, much like Olympic gold medal gymnast Simone Biles is currently experiencing. Mental health therapist Jenny Lovell says that accepting that you are overstressed and making the decision to say you've reached a point where you need to give up something is strength in itself and something that deserves admiration.
You work, you practice, you put in your all into this. Then something happens. And with stress, stress can come on, you have no idea. Yes, she knows she's going out there and she'll be competing against all kinds of people from all over the world, right? But you add something else to that, and then you have this situation. It's overwhelming. And we're talking today about the different types of stress.
Yeah.
You know, you have the basic stress that everyone has. I woke up late and I need to get to work. That's stressful. But if you add there's eustress, good stress. Eustress is I'm going to the Olympics and I might bring back some medals. That's eustress. It's good stress. Well, guess what? It's good stress coupled with other things that becomes toxic stress.
Lovell says that it is important for everyone to take time at the end of each day to de-stress and to reevaluate their mental health.
People get overwhelmed if it's too much. It's too much for a prolonged period of time, and then it overtakes you.
Yeah.
Some people end up, you could end up in a hospital with more than acute stress at this point. It becomes definitely something way bigger. You have to be doing things to ensure that at the end of the day, you take time to put your body back into stasis. And I don't think as a country of people, we don't look at that.
Nope.
We cannot constantly be under that level of stress on a daily basis.
And finally tonight, Channel 5 has good news for our viewers interested in the Tokyo Olympics. We have been granted access to the daily highlights, which will be aired beginning at 7 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and weekdays immediately following the newscast. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.